Flint City Council will please come to order. We'll begin tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Gassman.
Here.
Seeley.
Here.
McGraw.
Here.
Allison.
Here.
Oder.
Here.
Connell.
Here.
O'Neill.
Here.
Thank you. We have one public hearing tonight, so I will convene a public hearing concerning the accepting bid and awarding contract for the West Deer Creek Road Bridge Replacement Project, Iowa DOT project number BROS 1415628-8J-23. Have we had any comments in the clerk's office?
We have not, Your Honor.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address this public hearing? Hearing none, Councilmember Connell.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move that a public hearing concerning accepting bid and awarding contract for West Deer Creek Road Bridge Replacement Project, Iowa DOT project BROS-1415, parentheses 628, and parentheses -8J-23 be entered into the record.
Second. There a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Gassman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
McGraw.
Yes.
Allison.
Yes.
Oder.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Connell.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution awarding contract to Jim Schroeder Construction, Inc. for the West Deer Creek Road Bridge Replacement Project, Iowa DOT project number BROS-1415, parentheses 628, and parentheses -8J, parentheses 23, for $538,411.34. I move this resolution be adopted as presented.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Gassman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
McGraw.
Yes.
Allison.
Yes.
Oder.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, that concludes our public hearings tonight, so we'll go back up and we'll have the reading of the minutes. Councilmember Allison.
I move to dispense with the reading of the regular city council meeting and committee of the whole minutes of May 23rd, 2017, and they be approved as published on June 5th, 2017.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? We have roll call, please.
Councilmember Connell.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Gassman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
McGraw.
Yes.
Allison.
Yes.
Oder.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll move to audience comment, and we have one person that wishes to address the council tonight, and that's Gary Waters.
Evening, Mayor and Council. I'm just coming back up to talk about the wage compensation for the council and for the mayor, which I'm on that committee. And we had brought you that before while you were doing budgets this year. And now it's finally back up for conversation or for a vote. We just want you to know that normally the committee recommended this be done every 4 years. We're at the 8-year mark. And last time it was almost 12 years before there was a raise to the council or the mayor. So you were only making like $3.50 an hour while everybody else was making $6 at minimum wage. So it's an important issue to keep on the forefront of this, to make sure that we get qualified people like yourselves. And also, you're not voting a raise for yourself, you're voting a raise for the next council person or the next mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to address the council tonight? Hearing none, we'll move to the consent agenda. Councilmember Allison.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented on the attachment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Connell.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Gassman.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Allison,
Yes.
Odor.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll move to motions, resolutions, and ordinances. Councilmember Odor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move to have the claims received, approved, and placed on file.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember McGraw,
Yes.
Allison,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman,
yes,
Seely.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember O'Neill.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have an ordinance for first consideration. It's an ordinance amending
Wait a
chapters.
minute, we have to have a vote on that first. before you
Oh,
read the-
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember McGraw,
Yes.
Allison,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman,
yes,
Seely.
No.
Now you can read the title.
Okay, thank you. An ordinance amending chapter 17 of the ordinance of the city of Clinton, Iowa relating to the mayor's compensation.
Thank you. Councilmember Allison.
Your Honor, I have an ordinance for consideration and for the first time.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Allison,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
No.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman,
yes,
Seely,
No.
McGraw.
Yes.
Thank you.
An ordinance amending chapter 17 of the ordinances of the city of Clinton, Iowa relating to council compensation.
Second.
No, we're,
Sorry.
that's okay. Councilmember McGraw.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution appointing Bankers Trust Company of Des Moines, Iowa to serve as paying agent, note registrar, and transfer agent, approving the paying agent and note registrar and transfer agent agreement and authorizing the execution of the agreement. I move that the resolution be adopted as presented.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Sounds like I'm gonna have a very long document with lots of signatures in that one. Hearing no discussion, could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman,
yes,
Seely,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Allison.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Odor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution approving and authorizing a form of loan agreement and authorizing and providing for the issuance of $10,375,000 general obligation capital loan notes, Series 2017B, and levying a tax to pay said notes, approval of the tax exemption certificate and continuing disclosure certificate. And I move that it be adopted as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman,
yes,
Seely,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Allison,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Allison.
Your Honor, I have a resolution approving lease agreement with the Iowa Department of Transportation for a portion of the parking lot facility at 537 Ballpark Drive. I move that resolution be adopted as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman,
yes,
Seely,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Allison,
Yes.
Odor.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Seely.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution approving the July 1, 2017 medical plan renewal for year 2018 with Wellmark. I move this resolution be adopted as read.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Allison,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman,
yes,
Seely,
Yes.
McGraw.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember O'Neill.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution authorizing the replacement of the diffusers and the aerobic digester at the Regional Water Reclamation Facility. Move this resolution be adopted as presented.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember McGraw,
Yes.
Allison,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman,
yes,
Seely.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Connell.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution approving professional services agreement with Veenstra and Kim, Inc. for construction phase engineering for the West Deer Creek Road Bridge Replacement Project, Iowa DOT project number BROS-1415, parentheses 628, end parentheses dash 8J-23. I move this resolution be adopted as presented.
Second?
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Gassman,
Yes.
Seely,
Yes.
McGraw,
yes,
Allison,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Seeley.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution establishing just compensation for property acquisition pursuant to the executed purchase agreement regarding property situated adjacent to alley between 16th Place and 17th Place. I move this resolution be adopted as read.
I second,
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Seeley.
Thank you, Your Honor. It was a quiet night up till now, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I discussed this, what's proposed here, and I know you all saw in your packets, is basically a purchase of a lot, which is 50 by I think 120 something, because the alley's encroaching on the property, and I discussed with Matt, I was uncomfortable with maybe the specific option. I thought perhaps a permanent easement and just compensation for said easement would maybe be more fitting. We are encroaching on his property, so I think we have to do something, but my concern was essentially buying this entire lot, which really the entire lot won't be dedicated as right of way, which would then require us to have to take care of that green space. And what we're trying to do is get things off the books, less maintenance, and I also didn't think we needed to. Yeah.
Just would like to orient those folks that are looking at what we're seeing here on the big screen. So the red square around is actually what we propose to offer to purchase. And you can see the lighter blue is actually the right-of-way that comes around. This used to be all squared off way back when, but they keep cutting the corners and cutting the corners. So Jason and I discussed this. We'd also discussed this with Councilmember Seeley. We thought it was just prudent, make the offer, buy the whole rectangle square. They help maintain it up there in that area as well, versus them just, 2 years from now we come back and the road is actually crossed over into the light blue area as it continues in that area.
Matt, who owns everything within the red box right now?
That is owned by Grant Wilkie.
Okay, so literally this alley is actually half on Grant Wilkie's property? So you
It's
could build a
Gary.
Wilkie?
Oh, sorry, Gary,
Gary,
yeah.
yeah.
So he literally could build a fence down the middle
He
of
could,
there?
he could.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure
Now, as it's platted, if you saw the attached plat, it's actually legally described as a lot, and actually, we'll own it, but the way it's set up, it's actually a buildable lot. I don't know if you can build on an alley, perhaps a garage, but my main concern is we don't want to get stuck maintaining this, and I didn't see the purpose of having a 62-foot alley right-of-way is essentially what it boils down to. And Pat, I don't know, is there an option, since we're encroaching on his property, to just to file a permanent easement and provide compensation for said easement, rather than all this?
Well, we may have, I don't know how long we've been using it. I mean, we may have a prescriptive easement of some kind. I'd have to do some research on that. You could also, under, takings, you could take an easement. And of course, then the establishment of just compensation would be less. It would, the measure of the actual damages under taking would be less for an easement than it would be for a fee simple taking. There's a lot of options, sure. I mean, I'm not privy to what went on before this and how this landed on our agenda. I haven't reviewed it, but
Now, in order
I
for
certainly could review it and provide you options.
in order for that entire parcel, as proposed, the 50 by 126, to be dedicated as a right-of-way, which would then require the adjoining property owner to maintain that green space, correct? Can you do that?
Well, if his property abuts a city right-of-way, if it becomes city right-of-way, then it'd be subject to all the city code provisions regarding
Okay,
applying to abutting landowners.
okay.
Yes. Now, I don't know what the city's plan is at this point as to installation of sidewalks or anything like that, but certainly those,
This is just an alley, so I don't think we'll be putting any sidewalks back
yeah,
there.
it doesn't look like it, but the point being that I don't think that he would
Yeah.
have a whole lot he would need to be concerned about if it
Yeah.
became right of way.
And actually, well, you can see it's a 12-foot right-of-way, and actually the alley's just kinda, it sunk south is what happened. And so actually the green space to the north there along that black line is actually where the right-of-way should be.
But to answer your question, you certainly have the option of simply taking an easement
Yeah.
versus taking it in fee simple. And you have a further option of, and I don't know what the history was here, maybe he refused to deal or something, but you could
No,
certainly.
I think there's a good relationship there, and he
you could
wants to
just
work
buy
with the
it.
city.
You don't need a takings appraisal if you're
Yeah,
gonna buy it.
yeah.
Buy the easement, that is, or buy it
Yeah.
in fee, either
Yeah,
one.
so no, I think it's in our best interest to work with him, so I just don't want us to get stuck with a piece of property that we have to maintain, since we're trying to get rid of properties to maintain.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Thank you, Your Honor. I believe in the preliminary stuff that Jason had worked on this for a while and worked with Matt on it. And, you know, in any situation, if we have the control of it, I think we're in a much better situation. You know, if we do this just as this piecemeal part, then, you know, we always got things coming up that may come back and be redeciding on something for this other part of the ground. I think if we just buy the whole lot, then we control it, and if we wanna dispose of it later on, we most certainly have control to do that. So, you know, I think the recommendation of the engineer was to, you know, acquire the lot, get the right-of-way in the right situation, and to me, you know, you may need a bigger, I don't think you'll need it any smaller, but to have that ground for a year or two, I don't think is any detriment to the city, and again, it's, you know, having control of things and having control of that lot. Later on, if we know everything is working well, we can always turn around and sell it or use it or do something with the lot ourselves, so I'm gonna go along with the recommendation of the engineer.
I'll just make a couple points of clarification. We're actually only buying a part of the entire lot, and this is an alley right-of-way, and the only thing we're concerned about is the alley and the access it provides. So the rest of the green space is not of our concern. And it's on the tax roll right now, keep that in mind.
Any other comments? Okay, could we have roll call then, please?
Councilmember Allison,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman,
Yes.
Seeley,
No.
McGraw.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember O'Neill?
Where are we at? Thank you, Your Honor. Have a resolution approving an amendment to the memorandum of record to Grain.com 3 LLC for preparation of the easement agreement for the cell tower site extension Grain Tower number 2055-IA-021101. I move this resolution be adopted as presented.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember McGraw,
Yes.
Allison,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman,
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember McGraw?
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution of endorsement of the Clinton Fire Department application for a port security grant to fund the construction of a fireboat storage facility. I move that the resolution be adopted as presented.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? I see the fire chief is here, so
Apparently there is.
apparently that's our discussion.
Yeah.
Only if there's discussion.
Don't talk us out of it now.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Mike Brown, Fire Chief. This is the same grant that you approved last year. We applied for it and we're not awarded. So we're just, simply applying again. We've changed it up a little bit. We've got some cost analysis that we're gonna use, maybe a little cheaper than we had planned on last time, so we'd just like your blessing to go forward with the grant. If we're awarded it, we've got 3 years to, use it or lose it, to come up with the match if we need to, and so it's a starting point. Yes, sir.
Mike, is this for year-round storage, is for the winter, or?
It could be, it would probably still be, wiser to pull it out and put it in a heated place at the end of November.
Right.
Just for the fact that if you had it in there, chances are it's frozen all around it.
So this storage is for every day?
This is, yeah, just keep it out of the weather.
Keep it out of the sun, the
Keep the
weather,
boat out of the
hail.
water with
Okay.
the lift, so it's just deployable immediately. We went down and looked at the one in Davenport. That they got through the same grant a few years ago. They just finished it last year. They don't have a boat in it, but the building.
Did they not get a boat, but they've got a garage?
Well, they've got a boat, it just.
Another neat thing that Mike worked as well is based on being able to put not only the fire boat but also the police boat and cover 6 more areas that folks can rent for covered access, which is a popular piece down there for boat renters.
Right, this just gives you an idea of what, I mean, it's basically, what we would do is take existing docks and then build this type of structure on there. And trying to do this, still use the microphone. This area here, the proposal, the long-term proposal would be for the city to continue the covered docks between the two. Our facility would just go in this little highlighted area there. But, it can be built independently, or if the city wanted to go ahead and do the covered. I've got a cost estimate to do, just the fireboat area. And this is just a rough estimate, not including the lift, is 161, 900. The existing boat area with the existing dock, the gangway going to it, the electrical and the plumbing is like $138,000, and we would like to try to parlay that into our in-kind match when we do our section, our portion, so there wouldn't be any cost. And then, just a rough estimate to do those, the covered for the rest of the docks would be like $180,000. I don't know if there's any monies left over from the Vision Iowa or any of that that could be used for that, but it's a good idea because you can then increase the revenue and the I mean, people are clamoring for those covered slips. So. Yes, sir.
Do you know what's the value of the fireboat and the police boat?
Well, fireboat was $495,000, and I think it's still probably worth that. Our old flatboat, yeah, probably in the, well, probably $30,000 range still. I mean, it's a.
So we're pushing somewhere near $500,000.
Yeah.
Well, in the interim, while you're waiting for the grant, would you check with Julie Bray and see if we're gonna get if there's some cost savings insurance-wise for having it under a covered facility?
It's a great idea,
Well,
possibly.
just balance things off.
And we, you know, we're trying to take advantage in the spring when we put it in, while there's still, before the other boats are in, we use the covered slip. In the fall, once everybody gets out, we use one of our covered slips. But it makes sense, for security reasons, it's a port security grant, so I think it makes sense to secure it a little bit too.
Do you think the 250 is gonna be enough?
Yes.
What did we submit for last year?
We submitted 250, but we're including some training and some other, it was kind of convoluted. I think we're gonna try to simplify it this year, and, last time we had looked at going, on the end of the covered docks, by the gas docks. And I think it makes more sense to just go down on that existing ramp and put it in there. It doesn't look so obtrusive, I guess. And then if we ever build the rest of the roofs, it'll just kind of blend right in. So, yeah, I think 250's safe. I don't even know if we'll apply for that high. It might only be like 2 1/4. So,
But the lift would be additional?
no, that'll be included in our estimate. I had a picture of the lift. It's not much to look at, but about 30 grand with the lift and the floor system that goes underneath it. So.
What did Peoria spend a couple years ago? Didn't they just get one like 2 years ago?
Theirs is
or
a little
something?
older, and it's really a neat looking one because it's real nautical. I think it's about 10 years old, and they couldn't come up with any paperwork that says what they spent on it. So we did go and look at it, and I'm gonna guess it was about that. You know, it's hard for me to fathom that it's that expensive because it's a dock with steel, galvanized steel framing, but I know it's expensive, and the contractor I've been talking to thinks there's possibly cheaper ways to do it, like when they did the Vision Iowa ones, they just bought it from a company that does docks.
Yeah.
He thinks maybe they can cut steel, have it galvanized here, and maybe save some money that way, so we'd go with the low bid, obviously.
Any other questions of the chief?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman, Gassman,
Councilmember Gassman? I think we've lost him.
Yeah, we lose him.
Happy hour.
Sealy,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Allison.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember O'Neill?
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution approving amendment to the memorandum, that's the wrong one. Resolution setting a public hearing on the proposed sale of city-owned vacant lot.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes, sir. I'd just like to read it for the public so they know where, where we're talking about. And this is, got some apparently restrictions to it. Whereas the city of Clinton, the owner of the following vacant lot, parcel 80-0587000, better known as 1427 25th Avenue South, whereas the city of Clinton has determined that this parcel be a nuisance property, and whereas the city council further determined it may be in the best interest of the city and its residents to sell this parcel to the interested adjacent property owners, and sealed bids will be received by the city clerk from the adjacent property owners no later than 2 p.m. on Tuesday, June 20th, 2017. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Clinton, Iowa, that the council will hold a public hearing as part of its regular meeting held in the City Hall on June 27th, 2017 at 7 p.m. for the purposes of obtaining public input on the proposed sale of the aforementioned city-owned lot as described above, and notice of the same shall be published in accordance with the provisions of Iowa Code 362-362.3, including date, time, and place of the public hearing on the proposal. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Good. Councilmember Seeley?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a buildable lot, per our zoning code. So I remember we had all discussed our policies and procedures, and we had decided that, I thought we had decided that buildable lots, could be offered to more than just adjoining property owners, and non-buildable lots would be offered to only adjoining property owners. And I'm concerned that the resolution reads that it's an adjacent property owner only.
Yeah, so we discussed this earlier, so, and I was under the impression that we were still in phase 0, which is any city-owned property that was deemed as a nuisance would only be at this point in time to those that abutted the property. So, I don't know if I missed something when we were discussing this, but that's what I was tracking.
I thought I recall we said it had to be a non-buildable lot. But I guess we'd have to go back to the record and see what it said.
I think we owe it to the taxpayers, since they own this lot, that in order to get the highest and best bid, and it's buildable, so a house could be put on it. I think this gentleman has other plans, but I think we still owe it to the citizens that this has to be open to bid for anyone, and that way we can get the highest and best bid for the property.
Councilmember O'Neill.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in our discussion, when we talked about this, that the non-nuisance lots that the city owned that were buildable, would go to open bid, but, you know, you're gonna get the best price out of it from adjacent property owners, and I think they'll put it to the best use, so, since, you know, anything that's a nuisance right now, needs to be gotten off of our records, as we discussed before, and I think I made it pretty apparent, it's not about the profit, it's about the saving the loss. Right now, according to, Mr. Chapman, you know, we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, cutting this and taking care of these lots and doing snow removal, so I think phase 0, as the administrator said, was the nuisance one would go to, if it was adjacent lot between two entities, they would be able to bid on it and get it off the records, and that's the quickest and easiest way, so, I'm sure that was the intent, and I think we need to move forward with it.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I'll just, a comment to that. A nuisance lot, it's not being mowed. Is that what's going on?
What, yeah, what's actually being taken care of right now?
By the neighbor, so it's actually not a nuisance. Here's the deal. We discussed the guideline and policy, and there may be some misunderstanding, so I guess I need clarification on what this council wants to do, because right now we have a lot that's buildable. We have someone that adjoins property that wants it. But a house could also be built on this. So do we want to set a policy or our procedures that even though it's buildable, it has to be offered only to the adjoining property owner? Are we doing the taxpayer justice in that? Everyone in this room, everyone in the city of Clinton owns this lot right now. So if it goes out to bid, there may be someone that wants it, there may be somebody that doesn't, but this is just one situation. If we own a lot next to a commercial property that's along Lincoln Way, that's worth $20,000, let's say, to the adjacent property owner, are we doing the citizens justice if they'll only pay $5 and we say, oh, no, we don't want to offer it to anyone else? Absolutely not. This is a buildable lot based on our code, and I hope this guy next door gets it. I do. But it needs to go out to a fair bidding process. So it's not a give and take type deal here. We either set a policy and we follow it, or we don't.
Okay, I guess the question I have for Matt, is the policy, did we actually approve it, that it was gonna be nuisance lots?
We don't actually have an approved policy. We have direction from the council to move forward and to try to reduce the number of vacant lots that the city owns. That was our mission statement, so.
Who determines whether it's a nuisance or not? B&S?
Yes, it's still considered a nuisance, whether it's being mowed by someone or not. But in this case, what we've done also is, the direction you gave us is, these lots that we're looking at are only when people have been coming forward. So they actually came forward to us, they were interested in it as well. It's not that we've opened this up to put it for public sale, which we said we'd look at, but we just haven't got to that point yet. I can see Councilman Seeley's point, though, you know, as far as, and we will have a public hearing, but it's the way that the resolution is written at this point does not allow for anybody else to put a bid in. Whether they would or not, we don't know, but right now it constricts them to do that. But that's I was doing it just like the first 5 we've done previous.
And
I
that's
just would
fine.
like a point of clarification that we either said it was gonna be a buildable or non-buildable lot. The nuisance was, to me, I get that we were talking about that. In this case, this neighboring property owner was taking care of it, so it's technically wasn't a nuisance. It was whether we were allowing a buildable or non-buildable lot to go through the sale process, and that was the sticking point, I think, that we gave direction on. I would like a point of clarification before I vote for this, so I would like to see that.
Any other discussion?
I
Call
think
the
we need to
question.
get our policy finalized and agreed upon, so there's not confusion.
Yep.
But the way I understood it is that if you had a 40-foot lot that wasn't buildable, the only benefit was for that lot to be one of the adjoining property owners, whether it be split down the middle if they both wanted it, and then you had 2 legally conforming lots, or if one property owner just wanted it. And in fact, we're going to be talking about a resolution coming up that we had an issue where a guy that didn't own the adjoining property wanted to buy a non-conforming lot, and we had that switched. So I think we need to nobody may come along and want this lot, somebody may, I have no idea, but to do what's right and to do the taxpayers justice, I think this has to be open to bid for anyone, as with any buildable lot should be. Whether or not it brings any more money is to be determined, have no idea.
Yeah, I think we need to look at things and, you know, take the advice of the people that we're paying to do this. And, you know, BNS has been here 3 different times over a 1.5-year period. And, you know, to make a snap decision at 7 o'clock that someone's qualified to call it a nuisance or not a nuisance, the idea is to get rid of the lots and to get rid of the expense. So,
I don't know if
think,
that-
let me finish. I didn't interrupt you, so excuse me. So I think Mr. Chapman will be at the point where if everything's gonna be called into question because someone's confused or doesn't know the answer of what we discussed, you know, this could take forever, and we'll be cutting the grass all summer, and probably by the time everyone gets their ideas straight, we'll be shoveling snow. So I think to get rid of these lots, and which, no matter which matter we do it with, I don't think anyone's gonna have a big windfall. And, you know, we've let this problem sit and kick the can down the street for years now, so I think we need to move on and call the question.
I guess let's further that point of clarifications. I don't think we're arguing over the nuisance. It's whether the direction the council gave to staff, whether we were going to allow a sale, whether it was a buildable lot or non-buildable lot. If it was our misdirection, we own that, the guy's bid's good. If it's not and they misinterpreted, let's go back to this and fix it. It's not the nuisance issue. It's whether we have a buildable lot that somebody may or may not be interested in. But
Yeah.
if if we were wrong up here and saying, hey, Matt, go after this and do it this way, we need to own that. If not, hey, by all means, let's vote it forward.
Yeah,
But until we get that clarification, I don't think we're at that point.
exactly.
And we shall do that, because we specifically talked about footage and frontage. We never got into buildable, not buildable, I believe, but we will go back and review the tapes. Ironically enough, it's actually on that stick that's in there, because that's what I used to put the briefs on there tonight. So I will take that and look at that tomorrow.
Do we need to move to table this for to the next meeting?
Point of order, you got a resolution in a second, Your Honor.
We have, well, we have a resolution, but there is an option for if the council wishes to have a tabling action, someone could make that if there is a second, and we would take a vote on it.
I'll move to table this till we get further clarification from the city administrator,
You need
what
to put
was
a date,
directed.
you need to put a time when you wanna bring it back.
June 27th.
And,
No, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have, there's no more discussion on tabling. Could we have a roll call vote on the tabling, please?
Councilmember O'Neill?
No?
We're gonna try this. Gasman?
I don't think he's there.
Seeley?
yes.
McGraw?
Yes.
Allison?
Yes.
Odor?
Yes.
Connell?
Yes.
Okay, this will come back on the 27th. Councilmember McGraw.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution awarding contract to Detterman Asphalt Paving LLC for Eagle Point Lodge parking lot asphalt overlay, $48,974,000. I move that the resolution be adopted as presented.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Odor?
Yes.
Connell?
Yes.
O'Neill?
Yes?
Seeley?
Yes.
McGraw?
Yes.
Allison?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Seeley.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution accepting bid and approving sale of 529 7th Avenue South. I move this resolution be adopted as read.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, could we, you want to?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So this is the lot that, Shocker, is that the last name?
Mm-hmm.
So the buyer was not the adjoining property owner, and we had chosen, and now the adjoining property owner is buying it. So I think it's good we got this. They've agreed to deed our parcel, the 2 lots, as one. And I think that's our ultimate goal here, as we've discussed before, although it's still to be determined since we need more discussion on it, so.
This one's a little bit different.
Yes, this is a non-buildable lot.
These are both 33 feet wide, and so it was pretty neat. Crystal Shocker came in with her husband. She signed with a stamp of approval, and then also signed that she's willing to merge them together. So this will now make their lot 66 frontage, which then brings theirs into
Into
the
conformance.
standard. Yeah.
That's exactly, I think that's a good goal to have, because the non-conforming causes some hiccups with some property owners, so.
Until we get the mini houses.
Yeah, you're right.
Councilmember Connell?
Yeah, I just wanted to, quick point of clarification. What she signed, is that legal and binding?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And we
Just
had
as long as that's
witnesses.
verified.
We actually had, I'm gonna say power of attorney.
Notarized?
Notary,
Okay.
actually stamped it for both those clauses.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're gonna do that, and so we're gonna do that on all that have those type of things,
Yeah.
because we don't wanna have like a slip of paper that somebody brought in.
Right.
So we actually have them all show up, and so it's all straight above the board and legal.
Any other discussion? Could we have roll call then, please?
Councilmember Allison,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Seeley,
Yes.
McGraw.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Odor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution approving a fiscal year 2018 pay raise for non-bargaining employees, and I move that it be adopted as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Seeley,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Allison,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Thank you. We have no unfinished business tonight, so we go to Councilmember Allison.
Your Honor, I move to adjourn to 7 PM, June 27th, 2017.
Second.
A motion and a second. Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Seeley,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Allison,
Yes.
Odor.
Yes.
Thank you. We are adjourned, and we are going to, since we have a very long committee of the whole, we are going to take a 5-minute break.
Need some water?
Yeah, I need some water. Yeah,
You didn't what?
he's slipping on the job.
Explain this. Our goal is to get rid of all the lots we own, right? Yeah, then why did you guys just vote to buy a 50-foot lot for $3,000?
Let me write a note.
That's what I don't understand.
Oh, wow.
Standard consulting contract. Uh-huh.
That lot for the right of way in that alley.
Oh, let's go back to the alley.
Okay.
It is just.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd make a big difference.
Oh, no, oh, yeah. You might be able to use a laser without that unless you want to do clicking understanding. Yeah.
So that clicks too?
No, you gotta do manual. Well, the other guy clicks.
I'll lean over here.
Working right now. Maybe you wanna try yours, it might work. Here, we'll take this guy out.
You are military, I know that. Wasn't there.
What? What? Am I what? I'm not wearing my hearing aid. I'm sorry. No. not. Set this, I'm not. No. Are you warm? Are you warm? It's yeah. No, it's comfy in here. Yeah. You're sleeveless. Yeah. I did, last week I wore a suit coat and I thought about it, but then I thought, oh, it's just hot. Beastly hot. And then it was raining when I got in the car, so. No, it had quit. Yeah, Mike lived about, when we were in third, fourth, fifth grade, Mike lived about 10 doors away from me. And his mom and dad let her buy, the record album, Brand New Rock Band. Yes. And, oh yeah. They didn't know the content of the song. No, they didn't. Mike and I sat down and rocked out. I still remember right there out of the kitchen, right on the side. To the, right before we rocked out to Kiss. Brand New Band. Jorgensen was really into it. Much more so than me, but. Yeah. I'll warn him. I'll send him a text later tonight. Just so you know, I talked to Wade. Yeah. Just so you know. We still always laugh because. Absolutely is. Mike and I still laugh about that. We are, 45 years later, still laughing about something that his dad did. So I've taken on my mission is to embarrass my son in the same way. I figured that's what he had to do. Yeah. Well, yeah, one's 20. The other one turned 15 yesterday. Yeah. Or yeah. Well, you haven't even started being embarrassed yet. Well, Max is 20 in a month. Mason was 15 yesterday. I know. Oh, isn't that something? I know. It's two little babies. Yeah. I know. Yeah. But Max is 20 next month. Mason was 15 years old yesterday.
I'm gonna call the Clinton City Council Committee of the Whole to order, and we'll begin with roll call, please.
Councilmember Gassman,
Councilmember Gassman.
Here.
Thank you.
Seeley,
Here.
McGraw, Allison,
Here.
Gotta turn the
Odor.
bubbles off
Here.
the hot tub.
Connell,
Here.
O'Neill.
Here.
Thank you. Our first item tonight is the Downtown Smid Master Plan. Dennis Lauver, please.
Mayor, council members, thanks for the opportunity to be here. I'm speaking instead of Karen, the director of the Clinton Downtown Alliance, who conveniently scheduled a vacation so as not to be here this evening. What I want to do is four things. I want to just give you a little bit. We're going to talk about the master plan, but I want to do four things. One is talk a little about the history associated with this. Second, discuss a little bit about what a plan would look like. Third, kind of preview the path ahead. And then fourth, talk about tonight's request and really what brings us to you this evening. So the current master plan, the last master plan, was put together in 1997. And at the time laid out several good objectives and good strategies and things to accomplish. And as you can imagine, anything put together back in 1997, 20 years later, may not be very relevant going forward. And even though in 2006 and again in 2008, the authors of that study came back and did some reviews and updates, but again, those we're talking 9 and 11 years ago. So there were some recommendations that came, if you recall back, as to what the street looked like on Fifth Avenue, part of that construction project in 2000. Remember that big crown that we had there on Fifth Avenue South? And the streetscape is a significant and important difference that has occurred directly as a result of the master plan that was put together. But, you know, it is time to update that. So what I want to do is talk about what a plan would do next, or what it would look like. And really, what is a master plan? And really, it's that same model that businesses use of a SWOT analysis. Take a look at our strengths, what are the weaknesses, what are the opportunities, what are the threats? Gain input from all the stakeholders. That person that lives on 13th Avenue North that never shops downtown, that person that lives in the 400 block of 5th Avenue South, to the business owner, to the retailer, to the property owner, to everybody in the community, because we're all stakeholders in the community, and to get their input through that, and again, to identify what are those great things about downtown Clinton, what are those weaknesses, let's be blunt about them, what are the opportunities there. A lot of people will have various ideas on what those opportunities are. Let's think about that, and let's approach that. And in doing so, you can create a plan that is feasible and obtainable, that it really does have the opportunity to be implemented. So that's a key part of this process, is to make sure that what the plan comes up with is realistic in its expectations, realistic in its objectives, realistic in the strategies in order to accomplish those objectives and to move the downtown forward in that vision that the community as a whole has developed. So that's certainly a key part of this. And, you know, part of that concept is this, part of that whole process is this concept of placemaking. How do we make downtown a point of destination? Whether it's, hey, again, I live on 13th Avenue North, I will make this a destination to go shopping, or somebody that says, hey, I want a place to live, or it's a place where I want to own a building as an investment, or it's a place where I want to operate a business in the community. And what are those sorts of things that can be done to make the downtown a good place to be? One of the, in the next slide here, I'm going to show you a list of 4 different firms that, well, I'm sorry, let me back up here. So really a 3-step process and broken out, and if the light was dim, maybe everybody could see a little bit better, but really breaking this into a couple different, steps to get there. What are those small projects? What's something that's attainable, can be done in the next 6 months? And really lay things out and be very specific in things that can be attacked and worked on. There's going to be those bigger projects, as it says, challenging, that are going to take more of a, we're all going to have to roll up our sleeves and work together. And there's going to be those things that are developer required. They're going to be the bigger projects. A month ago, I was at the International Council of Shopping Center convention, meeting with a site selection consultant out of St. Louis who has a client who wants to be in downtown. General merchandise. I want to be in downtown Clinton. Now, how do we get from here to there? Well, that's not a small project. That may end up being a medium project as is defined on this screen. But by having a plan together, then it's easy for us to be together and organize and understand how we're going to accomplish those things to move those things forward. Through this process, some of the volunteers with the downtown, and there are a few of them here, if you could just quick raise your hand. Dave, you can raise your hand too. Anna, Tim, and a lot of other folks that have been involved. And I've provided input to Karen. And we've reached out to several different firms, and there's 4 in particular that at this point have we've all had discussions with them, and you can see them listed: MSA, Hannah Keelan, Snyder and Associates, and McClure Engineering. And to varying degrees, they have different strengths and weaknesses, and they have different fit with Clinton, Iowa. And so, 2 of them, as you see on the screen, Snyder and McClure, have direct experience here in the community and have done work on various projects here in Clinton. And that's not to say that the other 2 that wouldn't be ones that we'd want to follow up with. But the point is, we're taking a look at a broad-based, Karen and the volunteers taking a look at a well-rounded set of folks that can help develop that master plan for downtown. And again, not a cookie cutter approach, but understanding. But the great thing about this, and a couple of these in particular, understand you don't just create this great vision and this is what we want to do with downtown. Thank you very much. Walk away, say you take care of it. The point of the plan is to lay out, like I said earlier, that vision. What are those objectives? What is this strategy to get from point A to point B? And then who's going to be the responsible party in Clinton, Iowa to take leadership in that? So a plan's not just going to say, you ought to do this. You need more retail businesses in downtown. Okay. Give us a little bit more input and direction based on your experience and help and the input from the community as a whole. This is how you do it. Here's some overall strategies. And then break that down into some specifics so it becomes an action plan. And then XYZ entities in charge of this, or this committee's in charge of that. So there's that public, joint, transparent accountability that says objective X was us, objective Y was us, whatever it is, objective Z or A, whatever, and everybody knows who's going to work on what, and everybody can be moving in the same direction. And that's the opportunity that's before us as we go forward. I think we've got a number of folks well positioned to work with us and the volunteers downtown. So the cost of a comprehensive master plan is somewhere between $85,000 and $110,000. The downtown board will have 2 finalists prepare a 15-minute presentation to the council or committee of the whole after the SMID district approves that. So what we're going to do, I showed you in the previous slide 4 different folks. So the SMID board's going to narrow that to 2, and then the idea is to have those 2 come before you and each do a 15-minute presentation about their particular asset, with the idea that finalist is selected prior to or on July the 30th. The SMID intends to apply for a $75,000 grant from the Gaming Commission for this project. That is due July the 11th. So we're asking the council to support by providing up to $25,000 to meet the in-kind monies requirement. The SMID has already approved the additional support of the other monies to be well prepared and to have the adequate matching for an application. With that, is there anything I didn't cover or on it, Tim, Dave? Okay. Any questions?
Matt, where would you propose the funding source would come from for this?
Anita and I looked today. We have monies in the general fund that would be available to fund this.
Dennis, what year is this SMID in, this current SMID in?
Go ahead.
I believe we're at the 5th year right now, so we got another 5 years going into us where we go ahead and approach to have it renewed again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Thank you. On your presentation here, up on the top, you're applying for a grant, and then there's a comprehensive master plan of $85,000 to $110,000. But your wording was that you're asking the city for up to $25,000, but this says funds of $25,000. So I guess my question is our contribution gonna slide with the program, with the master plan, what it costs, or are we just earmarked for $25,000?
25,000, and knowing that the SMID board has approved within their own funds the additional support necessary to have the adequate match to ask the Gaming Association for funds to move it forward.
Well, my question is, at $85,000, if that's the cost of the plan, the percentage of 25,000 to 85,000 is one thing. The percentage that we're chipping in on a 110,000 plan is another. So I think, we need to look at if we want to just do a percentage of the overall cost as an in-kind, because the in-kind is depending on the cost of the plan, correct?
3 unequal sized buckets. The bucket from the city, it's the bucket from the SMID, and then the bucket that would be from the Gaming Association, that collectively would equal between 85 and 110. Karen, again, Councilmember O'Neill's questions are a valid one. Again, Karen is the one who isn't here and would be best able to answer.
Well, I can answer part of that about the 75. There's always a possibility that they don't fund it at 100% of your request of 75. So I think the reason for the ask of being 25 is they may only come back and say they're funding it at $50,000.
Okay.
They don't always fund you don't always get all the money that you're
I
asking for.
understand. Okay. Something to look at, I guess. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dennis, thanks for your presentation. So,
What is your mic on?
oh,
Thank you.
thanks for your presentation. So how are we gonna make sure that we don't get this great plan and it gets set up on a shelf and forgot about? What are we gonna do? What's our action plan for that?
Well, like I said, when I looked at, and I'm not the only volunteer to have done this, but others have sat down with each of those 4 that are kind of the finalists. There've been 6 or 7 different groups that have come in to present, and a couple of them are very good at that. Like I said, here's a great, wow, knock your socks off, goodbye community, we're leaving. We'll take our money and go back to Omaha or wherever, or go back to Minneapolis. And of those, and I don't want to reveal my particular bias, but one of those was excellent at the point that I said earlier to your question. Here's a strategy, or I'm sorry, here's an objective. Like I said, work on retail development downtown or something, for example. Here's the strategies to do that. Here's the entity that's in charge of accomplishing, or a committee or whatever. These are the people that are in charge of doing this. By when, by what date? How will we know within 1 year that they've on track? How will we know in 3 years that they're on track? So there's that accountability.
Okay.
And that transparency and accountability, I think, is a big part of the answer to your question.
It exactly is, and I knew you had a plan, but I wanted to double check because we do these all the time, right? And then we set them off to the side and we forget about them. And I think our downtown's beautiful, and I think the potential's through the roof down there. And I'd love to see this go. And it's gonna take a lot of hard work and dedication, not just from the SMID, but from all of us, city council, citizens, everybody. So, hoping this will help lead the way, of course, following you. So, if there's no other comments, I'd like to make a motion to move the support of 25,000 forward.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, so is there any further discussion or questions? Councilmember O'Neill.
If, let's say we move this all moves forward and we come up with a plan to do a medium project and build a 20,000 square foot building, how's that gonna get funded? Or will that be incorporated in the plan?
I think that gets incorporated into the plan, and there's, you know, big part of the answer to your question is being a community that has a list of projects that are ready to go, if not for money, and have that on the table, because a lot of those grant and funding opportunities, they're out there. They're out there more than a person might think they are. And there are other communities in this state and across the river, but in this state, communities that are a good apples to apples comparison to Clinton, Iowa, that have their to-do list ready to go. And everything's set and ready to go except for money. Because there are more funding opportunities out there than you might realize. You just had, you know, the fire chief come up and show you pictures of the marina. And I remember sitting in the the Cannon House Office Building in Washington, D.C. and talking about, oh, we'd like to someday, and we've got all of our ducks in a row as it relates to trying to do a new marina in Clinton, Iowa. And they looked at us and said, did you not read today's Federal Register? Well, no, we didn't. Well, did you know that there's a massive new federal government program specifically intended to help fund marinas? And because we had everything ready to go, those dollars were there. And those dollars exist within DOT and a number of other agencies across the state, and private dollars that are out there also.
So this isn't necessarily build a spec building, waiting for something to happen, just having something shovel ready.
Here's what I would say. I would say the answer to that is really, it depends what those various stakeholders, what the folks in the community, what those folks that own property, what retailers are, people that live and shop downtown, what they say, this is what we want to do. If they all said, we need a spec building, then we'd attack that. Or if it's X, Y, or Z, whatever those objectives are that have broad-based support and have risen to the top, you know, these aren't just, you know, a couple of these have had really good models of having community input. Come on downtown, give us your input. Here's a big, gigantic whiteboard. Write down your thoughts, sit down, tell us what you're thinking. I think downtown needs X, Y, and Z, this, that, and the other. And they gain those gain input. And so that there's real community buy-in in what starts and what ends the process.
Thank you.
Dennis, I guess to expand on that, if you think a little bit about the park master plan, where they had some citizen input meetings and different, to try to find out what is it the public wants in the document. I've looked at a couple of the preliminary, you know, what these companies can do. A couple of them just strictly were going to tell you that we should, you know, remodel a few storefronts, and, you know, it's like, that's not giving us a plan, as opposed to what does this community need, what's it want, what could it support. So there's a big difference in what each one of those four companies will do, and it's more than building a spec building. If they're going to suggest building anything, there's going to be the support presented about how can it be funded, as opposed to just, well, I guess you just go out and we'll just tax the citizens for it.
Dennis, I think a perfect example is the bike path in downtown. There was a lot of people that thought that was a very foolish idea, and I can sit in my office and see people using that all the time. And it's not just adults, you see a lot of families with little kids using it. It gets used a lot more than people think it does.
You know, the fire chief said Vision Iowa, as he was standing here, and there are reiterations of that program still there that are out there. Clinton has not applied for some of those dollars out of Des Moines. A plan can create those to-dos list that, again, like I said, we'd have that menu of things that are ready to go, if not for the money and that opportunity. So.
Perfect. Are these funds allocated out of this year or last year, or next year, sorry?
These would be out of this year.
Okay.
Any other questions of Dennis? Any other discussion? We have a motion to move this forward, so hearing no other comments, I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Councilmember Seeley,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Allison,
Yes.
Oder,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item number 2, which is the holiday lighting. Dennis?
Despite the fact that my name is listed there, Tim Clark is going to do the speaking, and my job is to run the PowerPoint.
You didn't ask me in advance if you could do that.
May we? Mayor and council people, I'm Tim Clark, I'm with DCA. If we can catch the light over there a little bit, Mr. Reneel, we can kind of show some of the lighting that we have going here. This still kind of dark in there, isn't it? Our lighting that we have for our holiday lighting downtown presently is over 25 years. It's kind of went past its lifetime. It's done very well, but it's at the point where it's kind of non-repairable and it's just tripping off the breakers, and we get about a third of the lights actually get lit during the holiday season. So we've been kind of looking at some new LED lighting for our downtown. It's got some great appearance for our downtown lighting up things, and we're going to kind of bring back some of the old days in the past where they lit the avenue, going across the avenue itself, which is we're really excited about because it kind of brings us back to a number of years ago, but we're using the technology of today with the LED lighting. So this is one of the proposed lights that we got going for across the avenue. You got some of the. We're also looking at a 22 foot LED light to go at the end of the avenue, go close to the fountain. Pretty cool when it's all lit up at night. So it's really kind of give you a really great appearance looking down Fifth Avenue. And I think it would be very exciting to get this all accomplished. So, and then we got some other pole lights. These are lights that will go on to our poles now, replacing the existing lights that we have now. A lot more appealing to everyone, and plus the LED lighting will really complement everything in our downtown compared to what we've been using in the past.
Then, as it says on the agenda, additional information was in your mailboxes, and I'm assuming that's where it describes the ask.
Should have more of the dollar amounts.
Oh, yeah, 64,000.
Yes, that's correct. That's money that's coming out of our fund, so we're not asking money for you. We're just asking permission to go ahead and spend the money. This company that we're looking at has been kind enough that they said that we can spread it out over a few-year payment plan at no interest. So we're pretty excited about that. So it kind of budgets things for us a lot better that way. So, at this point, we're just asking you to go ahead and do the initial down payment that we need to do, and then later on we'll come back again, of course, to get the other payment. But this is funds that the city's held for us. So we're only asking you to give us the money that it's already ours. So we're really nice on this part. But any other questions on these lights? What's your feelings on it,
Councilmember Connell?
Sean?
I just had the one that goes across the avenue looks really neat. I kind of like that, but
Yep.
Is there a structural wire to it or structural framing to it at all, or is it just kind of?
It's
I'm
support
thinking of like
wires.
a winter
It's-
wind that
it's
may
just-
come through
It's very lightweight, supported by wires. What it is,
Okay.
and there's actually be 6 of them go up and down the avenue. So there's more than just 1 or 2 of them in that. But I was looking back in some old books here a number of years ago, and they were showing actually Charlie Turner was up there with a big truck and that pulling and putting one across Fifth Avenue, and it was pretty neat to look at that particular time. So I'm so excited about seeing this come and happen back to our downtown again. Mr. Reneel.
Speaking of big trucks, I'm assuming it's gonna be high enough to semis can go under it.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then the present lights, are they SMIDS lights or the city's lights, or what do you plan on doing with them?
They're actually owned by the downtown because the downtown bought them
Yeah,
originally.
we had got a grant 25 years ago to pay for those. So actually we kind of own those, but they're just beyond repair.
Someplace we could donate them to, or the dump?
You're more welcome to them if you like. I'd be happy to. I know your address, so I'd be happy to drop them off.
I think we got a covenant in the subdivision. We can't have it. Thanks, Ed.
I'm only kidding.
Tim, make sure they're out in his driveway by morning.
I can make that happen, so that's not a problem. But any other questions from the council?
I'll move that we move this forward and approve their request.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion or questions? Could we have roll call then, please?
Councilmember McGraw,
Yes.
Allison,
Yes.
Odor,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Gassman,
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dennis, wherever you went to. Oh, there you are. Okay, we'll move on to item number 3, the recycling contract, the Waste Commission of Scott County. Matt?
Thank you, Your Honor. Basically, this is, the background is working for single stream recycling with the Waste Commission of Scott County. So in your packet there is the actual contract, already vetted and validated by our Lynch Dallas legal team, and already signed off by Kathy Morris. And basically to start October 2nd, and we're looking at an annual tonnage estimate of 1,500 tons to take down to Scott County. And so basically, we're looking for the city council to motion to move forward to the next council meeting for approval. Subject to your question.
Questions, discussion, motion to move forward? Any or all of the above?
I do have a question.
Okay.
What, Matt, what happens if you don't meet what you tell them you're gonna bring, basically, tonnage-wise?
Something about freezing over? No. Basically, talking to her, Kathy, they're super flexible because they understand in our first year there's a lot of unknowns.
Okay.
But they've done the same with rolling out to Davenport and Bettendorf, and they really work with you. So we'll start to adjust by month, but there's no penalty if we come in at 1,000, or no penalty if we come in at 2,000.
Okay. And one other thing.
Sure.
What are the terms of terminating this agreement?
Yeah, so this is basically the normal contract. We can, hopefully we don't, because I don't know where to go from there, but give them 30 days to 90 days notice that we're gonna, go somewhere else.
There's nothing like a
No.
penalty or a...
They're really great. They have increased their capacity like 5-fold down there. Truly, just a sidebar note is, if you ever get a chance, you need to go down to Scott County and see this, because it'll never make you want to throw a piece of garbage away again. Literally within 11 days, the piece of cardboard that's there at Scott County goes to Valparaiso, Indiana, and comes back to you as an Amazon box with your bookie disorder. And anytime we can not put stuff in a hole, that's awesome. So super flexible. They have great workers down there. One guy actually did like 85 milk jugs in 60 seconds, which no one could touch, and that's like their equivalent of their Skyline folks. They're down there and they're amazing. I don't think I could have that much attention, focus for a shift, but yeah, so truly good stuff. And the way it works too is on cost. We talked about this in other council meetings, but basically anywhere from $9 to $15, but based on the commodity market of that commodity. So if plastics are up that day, if cardboard is up, then we basically they give us 50% of what they sell comes back to us.
One more question.
Yes, sir.
I saw in there about if a certain percent or something of the load you bring happens to have trash in it. Is that a problem? Is it a problem in the beginning? Do you foresee it being a problem?
Yeah, so basically how we're gonna tackle this, and it'll come up, but on our trucks that we have actually cameras on our trucks already, but we also are gonna have a system that will know what can is going in at what time and with the camera. So we're gonna be able to know at the curb when we put it in, if A, it's blocked by a car, B, it's not there, or C, the can has basically been contaminated, meaning that there's plastic bags, because that's one of the things that really gets them is plastic bags. But once again, they're very flexible. But if we continue to run truck after truck down there and we keep dumping out and we're half full of waste, they're gonna call timeout. Okay. So I think ours is gonna be below 10%. That's a normal norm. But once again, they're very flexible. Our drivers are gonna be on the lookout for it. Creighton and I have already talked about, we're gonna go around and do some spot checking. And then if a garbage can here, a recycling can is deemed basically contaminated, twice we take it and they have to pay to get it back. So when we do this unveiling of our new program, everybody gets a recycling cart. But if you don't comply twice, we take that back and then you have to pay $25. Because we really wanna make sure folks get in a rhythm, put the right stuff in to begin with. We can see it as it's coming in. We can review the tape live right up there in front of the cab. So we're gonna be able to detect that. And then if we do have some, it's okay. You just can't continually have a reoccurring problem.
On page 4 of this
Yes, ma'am.
thing, it says that they will not, it cannot contain unacceptable materials. Is there
Yep.
gonna be some education ahead of time?
Oh, yes.
So
Oh,
we
yeah.
know what
Yes,
is
ma'am.
unacceptable
You
material?
betcha. So that's actually gonna jump, and we'll hold for a second, but that'll jump to the next contract, which is Laura Legis who's here. But basically we have a really, really detailed education plan rolling out, not only to the great citizens, but also the great kids of Clinton. Cause we really feel we start working with the kids. They're our best, rural guiders that we have, and they'll ensure that mom and dad and brothers and sisters are putting the right stuff into the recycling can.
Is this gonna include commercial businesses?
No, at this time, we're not. We'll look at that as we go, but we would definitely like to open that up. We're gonna make sure when we get the carts out and redo the routes that we can handle. Right now, we feel pretty confident that we can handle 6,500 up to 8,800 right now with no problem, Monday through Friday, every other week, just for those listening.
And solid waste will still be every week.
Yes, solid waste still every week. But our intent is that your solid waste bag gets really, 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 really small. And so hopefully even someday where you may see 65-gallon carts out for your solid waste next to your 95-gallon cart for your recycling. And I'll tell you, one of the neatest things was Davenport actually, 61% they increased their recycling in the first year, 61%, which means, once again, they went from like 15,000 tons to 1,000 tons to 7,000 tons to 6,000 tons. Just completely inverted the scales. And that's really what we're excited about. And of course, the more they get in there, the more they can sell, the better price they can get as well. So,
But you can't put
but I'm not
plastic-
excited.
Plastic bags in it?
The plastic bags like you get at the grocery stores, no. Now, they will sort them out, but they try not to. When they talk about contamination, that's like, you don't want yard waste in there or, dog things, et cetera. So basically, those are the bad things. Then they do take bottles. They lose a bit of money on bottles, but they still process them. When you see that actually go up the conveyor, it looks like just a bunch of little small sheds of glass as it goes. And they get $10 back, but they spend 15, but they do it because it's still good for overall business.
If you remember, I think there was a lady from Scott County here almost a year ago or last year, and their biggest piece, I think, of their whole rollout was education.
Yes.
And knowing what types of, there were some lines of what types of plastics were acceptable when they first rolled out versus what wasn't acceptable, and they had it broken down pretty good in their educational material.
And not to steal Laura's thunder, but besides, we're gonna have basically it's a 10-year warranty that's on top of the lids, that's in color, that shows exactly everything that goes in. We're gonna have long bags that are handouts with little handouts in it. That's a little guide you can put on your refrigerator to show what goes in and what doesn't. And like we said too, and Laura and I talk, she's hiding back there, we basically talk about, no one wants the government in their kitchen, but the only time I'd allow them in my kitchen is to make sure that I'm doing really good single source recycling or single stream recycling, because it's really gonna change the dynamics of what you do at home. Because the biggest producer of garbage is in your kitchen. But now, like at our house, what we're doing is our kitchen garbage has become now our recycling garbage. And then we have a little one underneath our sink that's for, it's just my wife and I, so that's for, as Ed, our Councilmember O'Neill likes to say, chicken bones and potatoes go in that one.
Okay, so is there a motion to move this contract forward?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion or questions? Could we have roll call then, please?
Councilmember Gassman,
Yes.
Seeley,
Yes.
McGraw,
Yes.
Allison,
Yes.
Oder,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Now we'll move on to item, you again, yes, well, it's Laura Leach's contract.
Yes,
Matt?
yes. All right, well, thanks. Welcome again. So basically, if I could embarrass Laura to have her come up here real quick. She doesn't get to say anything yet, but I'm gonna just embarrass her. So the folks in the good city of Clinton, great city of Clinton, can see, we've already had a couple of, and actually several of the council members, the mayor, and actually somebody's child that we rented for the day, went down and already started making a video. We have a hero in our solid waste department, Adam, who's been in the forefront of the video, and that's basically the phased approach. And so I'm gonna pause just so you can hear from Laura specifically on the education plan and what she's got coming up, as we get ready to get to October.
Well, public education, mayor and council are very important in rolling out any new program, because you are taking the black buckets that have been here since 1990. And again, as I said in January when I came to visit all of you, you are one of the first communities in Iowa to recycle. And I know your residents are going to really appreciate this program. And on my way here to council tonight, I saw several garbage carts with cardboard and things sticking out. And we're not gonna have that anymore, because they're gonna have this huge cart to put everything in, which is great. So, what we are doing with this is we've laid out different outlets that we need to go for, because we know that everybody has different avenues of how to be educated. We're utilizing the Lighthouse newspaper that the city has worked with the Clinton Herald. There will be a full page section for the August edition for that, detailing which will have a list of the routes will be published, which will show where people will be week A or week B. We are working with that route to a little bit of changes with some solid waste routes, because we would like to, your city has expanded some on one day, and we'd like to average that out for your drivers.
Yeah, Creighton's been after us for a while.
So this is the time to do that. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do it now. We also will be having numerous social media marketing, because that's very important here in the area, along with, obviously, we utilize your website for details with that. We also will be doing public meetings. August 5th, we will utilize the public forum at the Erickson Center that Ed O'Neill has. We will have that available that morning, and we will also be doing August 7th and August 17th. We have August 7th at Bluff Elementary School and August 17th at your Eagle Point Lodge. So we're trying to spread it out in the community for people to come in and hear about the new program. And at all of those meetings, and also early July, we will be showcasing our video that we started on last week, which will also be available out on social media. So it can be shared. We're gonna run it on public access. Every opportunity we can to plug it, we will be doing that, with that. And as we lead up into September, our cart delivery will be in September. Again, we will make sure that people know when that will happen. We'll keep people informed by our local media, also publication-wise.
It happens to be when school gets back in session.
That's right, which gears us up to the education of students. And we will be in the school districts talking about the new recycling program. We'll try to get the truck over, because we like to showcase big machinery to kids about how things work, so they can see up close, talk about safety with them, but also talk about the importance of recycling. And the emphasis with is your challenge is to challenge your parents to recycle more. So we will be in the schools in September. Those will be scheduled in August, so right before school starts, so we can get into school. And the program will start October 2nd. So this is a very short time frame, but very in-depth, that we can push a lot of information out. And I think that this program is gonna be very beneficial in your community, as I've emphasized over and over again with you. And I think all the public outreach is gonna hit different avenues. So that's gonna be very beneficial. And we are gonna be at one public event coming this weekend, your Felix Adler Discovery Day downtown here. So we will be there. With pushing education out of, hey, your cart's gonna be coming on around this time. We also have these public meetings, and we have a fun activity for the kids. So that's already kind of in the realm of what's going on.
And she's too modest, but she's already done a lot of great stuff. We're already moving forward. Our truck is on order, both parts, because it's two different parts that have to come together. We're gonna be finalizing our cart selection here very shortly. It'll be nice recyclable blue. We tried to get the black bottom, gold top, but you know, we had some people argue against that.
People want the red and gold one.
Sorry.